Today, we are diving deep into an absolute masterpiece of storytelling, Ernest Hemingway's classic, The Old Man and the Sea. You know, Hemingway was famous for his iceberg theory, the idea that the real story is mostly hidden beneath the surface. And wow, this book is the perfect example. It's a simple tale about a fisherman, but it asks these huge questions about what it really means to win or lose.
And this line right here, this is the beating heart of the entire story. It's the philosophy our hero, Santiago, lives and breathes. It totally sets the stage for a fight that's just as much about what's inside him as it is about the fish on his line. We're about to see a man pushed to his absolute limit, and we're going to find out what being undefeated truly means.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll get the lay of the land with a legendary struggle. Then we'll get to know our main guy in the man named Santiago. After that, we'll really dig into the big idea in Defeated but Not Destroyed. And finally, we'll uncover all the hidden meanings in Symbols in the Deep.
All right, let's kick things off. First up, a legendary struggle. Time to set the scene for this incredible story of one man against the massive, unforgiving sea.
The whole thing starts with this number, 84. Our old fisherman, Santiago, has gone 84 straight days without catching a single fish. Think about that. He's considered salao, which is like the worst kind of unlucky you can be. His sail is so patched up it looks like, and I quote, the flag of permanent defeat. But then comes day 85. Santiago takes his little boat way out into the Gulf Stream, determined to change his luck. And boy, does he. He hooks the biggest marlin he's ever seen in his life. This fish is so powerful, it actually starts towing his boat further and further out to sea, kicking off this grueling 3-day battle of wills. So who exactly is this man, Santiago? What is it about him that gives him the strength to go through something like this? Let's take a closer look.
This line from Hemingway just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the contradiction that is Santiago. His body is completely worn out by a long, tough life, but his spirit? Well, a spirit, you can see it in his eyes. It's as endless and unconquerable as the ocean itself. And I mean, the contrast is just night and day. Physically, he's a wreck. The book describes him as thin and gaunt, with hands that are just covered in scars from a lifetime of wrestling with fishing lines. But inside, that's a different story. His spirit is rock solid. He's still got hope, he's still got confidence, and a deep sense of pride that bad luck just can't touch.
And these traits are really the pillars of his character. His endurance is just incredible. He literally tells the marlin, "I'll stay with you until I am dead." He has pride, yeah, but it's the pride of a true craftsman who respects his work. He's got skill and resolution, and even with all that pride, he has humility. But most important of all, he never ever loses hope. For him, every day is a new day.
Okay, so now let's see how all this builds to the real core of the book. This is where we get into what victory and defeat actually mean.
This is the big question Hemingway drops on us. Santiago fights the perfect fight. He wins against absolutely insane odds. But then he loses the prize. So, did he fail? Or is there maybe another kind of victory we should be looking at? The journey he goes on is just an odyssey. For 3 days, this massive fish pulls him along. His hands are shredded, his back is screaming in pain, he's starving and exhausted. He finally manages to kill the magnificent fish and ties it to the side of his boat. But the celebration is short-lived. The blood draws in the sharks, and on that long trip home, they just tear his prize apart, piece by piece. So here's the crucial part, this contrast. On the one hand, he comes back with nothing, just a giant skeleton that some tourists mistake for a shark. By the world's standards, it's a total failure. But his real victory? That's spiritual. He proved to himself that he's still a master, that his will is unbreakable. He faced the biggest challenge of his life with courage and dignity, and that's what earns him the complete devotion of the boy Manolin. Now, to really get this story, we've got to look below the surface. The whole book is packed with symbolism that gives this simple plot its incredible depth. First up, the marlin. This isn't just a fish, it's Santiago's equal. He has this immense respect for it, even calls it his brother. The marlin represents the perfect opponent, a noble, worthy adversary that brings out the absolute best in Santiago. The fight isn't about hate, it's about love and respect between two powerful beings. And then you've got the sharks, a complete 180 from the marlin.
Santiago has zero respect for them. They're just hateful scavengers. They basically represent the mindless, destructive forces in the universe that can tear down anything, no matter how great. They're that brutal reality that just doesn't care about a hard-fought battle or dignity.
So, through this whole ordeal, Santiago keeps thinking about the baseball player Joe DiMaggio. To him, DiMaggio was a hero who played perfectly, even when he was dealing with a painful injury. He becomes this powerful symbol of grace under pressure, a role model for pushing through pain without complaining. It's what keeps Santiago going.
And finally, we have the lions. Santiago keeps having this recurring dream about lions playing on a beach in Africa from when he was a young man. These lions symbolize a return to a time of pure, primal strength, freedom, and peace. It's his mental escape, a place of power and calm that exists way beyond his current struggle. So when you put all of these pieces together, the real message starts to come through loud and clear. The true measure of a person isn't what they get in the end, but how they face their challenges. Santiago loses the fish, for sure, but he wins a much bigger battle for his own soul by enduring it all with grace, honor, and a will that just won't break.
And that brings us right back to where we started, full circle. Santiago's body is destroyed by the fight. His prize is destroyed by the sharks. But his spirit? No way. His spirit is undefeated. He proved that even when you lose everything on the outside, your dignity and your will can stay perfectly intact.
At the end of the day, Hemingway kind of leaves us with this question to chew on. Santiago comes home, exhausted, empty-handed, and he just goes to sleep to dream about the lions. So what do you think? In a world that so often measures success by what we have to show for it, was his incredible struggle a tragedy, or was it the greatest triumph of his life?